All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. We'll see who comes in here in a moment. We'll probably have some people joining here in a second. Um,
No problem.
but let's see what's going on. See how many people we have in here. May not be super
No
live yet.
problem.
But let's see what's going on. See how many people we have in here.
Oh wow. Now there's oh, it just went away.
Yeah, that was me. I was doing stuff. All right,
Oh.
now we got some people coming into the room. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. I am doing this video because I have a video on my channel called 7 Things Not to Do when Going Through a Child Support Case. And it's based on my personal experience about 11 years ago when I was going through my own child support case. So I got all these crazy comments, people telling me all these things that I said that were incorrect and how I should have done this and how I should have done that. So I thought maybe I should get somebody that I know that is actually an attorney and deals with child support cases. And she's actually working with a friend of mine, and he just raves about how great, how much of a shark she is, and how she's fighting for him. And so I said, well, let me have a conversation with her. So I'm gonna have guys here on the show today. I have attorney Corletra Mance. How you doing?
Hello.
I'm gonna
I
call
am
her
well.
Cece, guys. How you doing, Cece?
I'm well. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. It's good to see you. Where you hanging out from? Where are you at right now?
Well, I'm in Las Vegas. I am getting my what's called continued legal education credits. You have
Okay.
to have 15 before the end of the year. I have zero.
Okay.
So I took it upon myself to come to a conference that's going to allow me to hone in on some areas of law that I practice, learn, of course, more expertise in different things, and be able to help my clients even more. So I'm here for the next 3 days, and we've been in meetings all day. I'm in meetings all day tomorrow and Saturday, and so I'm in Vegas, but I'm right now in my hotel room, ready to
Okay.
talk to you guys.
Hey, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate it. So let's just jump right in and get into some of the meat of what I wanted to talk to you about today. Now, tell me. Now, obviously you deal with child support cases. Um, what are some of the main mistakes or the main issues that you think um, people are having when they're dealing with their child support cases?
Okay, first I'll give my disclaimer. I am barred in the state of Tennessee. So all the information that I'm going to be providing today is going to be Tennessee law. Um, Also know that, of course, there's a lot of surrounding states and things. The laws are very similar, but you'll want to check with, if you're not in the state of Tennessee, the rules of that particular state, those statutes, to make sure that what you're doing is accurate. To jump right in, misconceptions that I get all the time. Number one is a lot of times child support issues come about when the parties may are usually they're not married. Okay, so what happens is one party who is not the in Tennessee, they don't have joint or sole custody anymore. Those terms, no, you'll hear them still, but they're no longer pretty much valid. What that in turn means is there is a primary residential parent and an alternate alternative residential parent, right? So
Okay.
that primary typically has more days, visitation days with the child. It also means a lot of times that when the child gets school age, the child will go to school in the school zone where the primary residential parent lives. That's it. That's what that means. And the reason I bring that up It's because a lot of times, and I'll just say a lot of times fathers are not the primary residential parent, right?
Right.
Because they didn't give birth to the child. You know, the child is with the mom. So they'll go down to court. They may or may not go down to court. Mom may go down. Someone goes down and files child support,
Okay.
right? The difference is a lot of people don't realize is going down and filing child support. That's great, but if you don't also file a parenting plan, because one number one misconception is, well, I'm paying child support, but I don't get to see my kids. First question I asked, did you file a parenting plan? Parenting plan, that's what sets your number of days that you get with your child. If you get the wrong, how could I put this? Child support agent, they'll set your days at 0. So when they're calculating child support, which in Tennessee is income shares model, that means it's based off of both incomes, mom and dad's. It's also based off of the number of days you have with that child. So if you sitting at 0 days and mom's got 365, your child support is going to be higher. Typically, courts now don't do that. The standard is, and when I say standard, I mean it's 285 to 80, meaning, all right, dad, you get 80 days, you know, versus 0. So that's going to bring down that child support. Mom gets 285 days. Okay, great. Here is a tidbit of information. For every 10 days over 80, you get a credit, and that lowers your child support. Um, Tennessee has gone into, you also get credit, and I tell people this all the time. You have to make sure of this, especially if you don't have an attorney. If you have another child and you're paying child support, that needs to be on that income shares worksheet. Why? Because you get credit for that. If that child is on your insurance, that needs to be on the income shares worksheet. So you can get credit for that to show that you're doing something for your child. Um,
Question. Hold on. You are giving me so much information.
I'm
Like I don't
sorry.
do it. I haven't had to. No, it's great. I haven't had a child support case in so long, and I'm never gonna have another one. But but you mentioned something very interesting because on that video I made, the very first thing I said was, do not go into court without an attorney if at all possible, because that was the mistake I made. I went into court without an attorney, and I didn't really know anything about the court system. I didn't know anything about the child support system, so I didn't know I didn't know what to say. I didn't know the terminology, and I felt like that was one of the reasons that I was looked at so negatively when I was in court, even though, I am a great dad, and I saw my daughter literally every day, but I didn't know how to get that across, and I was really frustrated because it seemed like nobody was really trying to listen to what I was saying. It was just, how much money you got, how much money can you give us? Let's
Right.
hurry up and get this money. She needs this money, and nothing that it felt like nothing that I was saying weighed as much as what she was saying because she had an attorney. So my question to you is, a lot of the comments I've gotten have been like, don't get an attorney because attorneys work for the system, and they're going to try to get as much money from you as they can because they're going to get that money, and plus it feeds the child support system because only 60% of the money that you give the mother gives the child support goes to the mother, and the other percentage goes into the system, and you shouldn't have an attorney because they all work for the system. They're going to try to screw you over. Is it better to have an attorney, or is it better to take however much time you have between the moment you get that letter and the moment you start actually going to court and figuring all that stuff out for yourself? And let's just say, if you have a couple of months, if you can learn as much as an attorney in a few months, if you have some magic person that has a magic brain and you can learn all that law within a couple of months, is it better for you to do that yourself or to get an attorney?
So, number one, as a private attorney, I don't work for the system. I don't work for the state. The state has an attorney.
Mm.
There is an attorney sitting at that table. That is the child's attorney. It may seem it's the mom's attorney, but no, no, no. It's about the best interest of the child. So that child support attorney, all they care about is how much money can I get from you to give this kid. Now, you asked, is it better to get an attorney? Um, yes. I'm just flat out. I have seen and I've got several clients right now who went in. I don't need an attorney. I'm gonna do this on my own. That was fine, and they did, and they got screwed. And then a couple of months down the road, a year down the road, here they come because they need help, because they need that child support modified, because they didn't know that there were certain credits you could get for something. Unless you're gonna read the 300-page child support guideline manual and learn all of that. It's things that you just don't know. Some people don't want to spend that money, and that's fine. I understand that too. What I would suggest is, if you're not going to spend the money on an attorney, at least get someone either that knows the system, maybe works for child support that you're friends with, that's been through this already.
Mm-hmm.
As I stated, in 2008, the child support guidelines changed. So a lot of people are operating off of things that happened before that. I have not heard ever in life that 60% only goes to the child. No, when you pay in child support, there's literally, you can get online, say if you're paying $400 a month, it will show where $400 went to primary custodial parent. How they do it now, if you go through child support, is they'll either put it on a card, or you can do a wage assignment, or you can have it directly deposited into primary custodial parent's account. I always tell my clients no, because you want a record of that. So you want it to go through child support, because as soon as whoever gets mad at whoever and they want to say, oh, well, I'm going to take you back to child support because you haven't been making payments. Granted, you've been putting money in her account. Doesn't matter. If you can't show a paper trail, definitely don't give her cash. If you show a paper trail, you're good. But the only way, the quickest way to get credit is for it to go through child support services. People don't like that. They don't want to go through child support services because they feel like, you know, child support is the devil and they're after them. And this is how it is. Child support can be slow at times. Now, I'm not going to lie. But one of the safest ways is to either direct deposit it into a bank account for that child, you know, and of course the parent's name is going to be on it too, or through child support. Wage assignments also safe, because that means it's just going to come out maybe every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, something like that, or monthly. But you know, I see a lot of people go in by themselves, and it hurts them. But if you don't have the money to afford a private attorney, then don't do it. That attorney that's sitting in there, that's not a private attorney. They work for the state.
Okay, good information. What is the purpose of a mediator?
A mediator is a third party neutral, right? Now, you don't have, because child support, there are guidelines. You don't have a mediator for child support. They literally, it's based off of income shares. So whether you bring in a pay stub, a tax return, something showing what you're making, and then if you walk in there and say, I don't have a job, they're going to impute you at minimum wage. That's just how it goes. Okay. You cannot come in there, especially if you are able-bodied, and say, I'm just not working. No, you're going to get imputed. And then you got to figure out how it's going to get paid, right? Because that child has to be taken care of. So back to mediation. A lot of times people will do a parenting plan and child support all together at one time, right?
Okay.
Why? Because that child support is going to be based off to how many days each party has. Like, there's literally a computer system where I can type in and I show my clients, hey, if you have 80 days, this is what your child support is going to be. If you have 120 days with the child, and I will say, most of these fathers that I've run into want time with their kids. They want joint. And I'll be quite honest with you, Davidson County juvenile is given joint custody, right and left.
Really?
Yep. So that's why you have a lot of attorneys now that they call it forum shopping, because circuit court has the same jurisdiction as juvenile, whether you're married or not. And they will take a case to circuit court because they know good and well the father won't get joint custody. If that mother or father, whoever, can't prove that the other party is a bad influence or it's not in the best interest of the child to be around the other parent, juvenile court's given 1 week on, 1 week off. That's just what they do now. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Like across the board, that just happens.
Majority of the magistrates, I haven't in the last 4 years run into one. And I've had clients, moms that I've represented, that didn't want dad to have 50% of the time. But guess what? They weren't a bad father. They just didn't like each other. 1 week on, 1 week off. Unless you can prove, you've got to have convincing evidence that that father shouldn't have 50% of the time. Now that's like I said, that's Davidson County. And I also said that's why they forum shot, because in circuit court, Tennessee's supposed to, everybody's supposed to maximize each parent's parenting time, right? That's why juvenile does 50-50 most of the time, right? Unless there's some circumstance, like I said, that's not in the best interest of the child. However, certain judges, because of their beliefs, different things, certain circuits don't believe that that should happen and that the mom should have more time, especially when the child is what they say at the infant stage. What's the infant stage? Well, I've been in court and someone's told me it's a year. I've been in court and judge told me it was till the kid was 5. So that's discretion of the judge. I can't give you an answer. And it's very frustrating.
What are some of the things? Well, even with this, I don't want to get too far into the mediator thing because I don't know how that works, because I know with mine, like with my case, I was supposed to be going to a mediation, and I remember going in there, and that woman was completely not impartial. She was completely partial to my ex, and I've never. And what was so bad about this meeting was I had an injury, so I was on this medication to like relax my muscle, but it made me an asshole. So I was in this room, and this lady was completely badgering me and not listening to anything I said, and was so into her. Now I'm assuming, like you said, if this woman was quote unquote looking out for the best interest of the child, which is maybe why she said that. But this woman was going so hard against me. I'm wondering, when you are told that you're going to have a mediation, is this a time where you should already secure representation at that moment? Or should you go in there thinking that you're going to be talking to an impartial party that is just going to be looking at the best interest of the child and not leaning either way toward either the parents?
So the mediator is supposed to be a third party neutral that's trying to get the two sides to reach an agreement without having to go to trial. Okay, that's what they're supposed to be. I am a civil and family mediator, Rule 31 as well. That's what's supposed to happen. People are human and have their biases, right?
Right.
Now, you ask the question, should you already secure representation? You don't have to, because guess what? You don't have to reach an agreement in mediation. You can literally go in there, be like, I'm not agreeing to that. I want a trial. The courts are going to make you at least try to go to mediation and see if you can work something out. If you realize 30 minutes into it, you're not going to work anything out, you can stop the mediation and say, you know what, we just need to go back to court and set this for trial. At that point, I would suggest retaining an attorney. Um, I've had it done both ways. I've had most of my clients retain me before mediation, right? So
Mhm.
I'm with them at mediation. So I can help them through mediation, you know. Um, you also, a lot of times, the client may feel more comfortable because they feel like they've got someone in there that's got their back.
Mm. So you're
And
saying that, okay, let me make sure I understand what you're saying.
mhm.
You're saying the media the mediator is supposed to be an unbiased, impartial person. Now, if you go into that mediation meeting and you cannot, or you know that you are not going to reach an understanding at that point,
Mhm.
you can say, this mediation is adjourned, and walk out that joint and say, okay, we need to go to trial because this is not coming to any solution. If you
Correct.
go to trial, you can say, okay, now I need to secure representation because we're going to trial.
Correct. That's exactly, yeah. You in the mediation, you're like, this ain't going anywhere. You can say, you know what, I'm done, and walk out. That's it. Now, another thing about, and I with form shopping. This is important with mediators in Davidson County. I'm not sure it's called Nashville Conflict Resolution Center, NCRC.
Mm-hmm.
They are a nonprofit. They
Hold on.
Davidson County. They're so
I think you froze for a second. It's okay. You said the initials, the NCRC, then you froze for a second.
okay. So
Okay.
NCRC is a free mediation service.
Okay.
That Davidson County Juvenile uses quite a bit, and there's others in other counties and probably state. Different states have their own thing. Um, if you are in circuit court, you
Mm-hmm.
can't use those free services. You have to get a private mediator. Um, NCRC, Nashville Conflict Resolution Center, is pretty good about trying to get resolutions. Sorry, private mediators. My point in saying that is, at any point, if you are feeling pressured or you don't like how things are going, you can stop it right then and leave. It does, you don't have to sit in there and let them bully you around. And it's not going to, because here's the thing, mediation, you can't bring it up at trial. You cannot bring the mediator in trial to testify to what went on in mediation. Can't do it. I
Okay,
don't
let me
care.
ask you a question. Because this
Mm-hmm.
is what happened in my case. The woman that was in the mediation was the woman that was sitting next to her in the courtroom.
So that's not a mediator then. That's the
So,
state attorney. That's no,
so the woman
no.
that was at the meeting that they told me was for mediation, does this happen regularly? Is this something that can be happening to people in this situation? And I don't want to hark on my situation because it was 11 years ago, but I can only speak from,
Mm-hmm.
what I know and what I've been asked from other people.
And
Is
and
this
not to
something that
cut you
happens
off.
regularly, or is
No,
it?
it's not. And not to cut you off, as I stated in 2008, the guidelines changed.
Also, it could have been different pre 2008.
Correct. Correct.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Now they have a specific procedure on the initial custody battle when you go to court. Right now, I can tell you, Magistrate O'Neill, that's who's in Davidson County, who does the initial hearings.
Hmm.
He's going to say, have y'all reached an agreement? Yes or no? No. Okay, well, you need to go over here, visit our mediation services, see if y'all can set up a date and reach an agreement. If not, you come back, you tell me either yes or no, you got it together, or we'll set a date for trial. Initial setting now is 5 minutes and you're out the door. Okay.
Really?
So, yes. Yeah. It's changed quite a bit. And even in circuit court, they want you to go to meet, at least try mediation. And the
Hmm.
judges give a long speech about at least try mediation, because at least then, if you've reached an agreement, you may not be completely happy, but both sides can work with what they agreed to. Versus if you go to trial, judge is making the call, nobody's happy. And a lot of times when no one's happy, no one complies. And then you end up in court and in jail for contempt. So it's become, like I said, it's a lot different, because what you're telling me, that's crazy. No, I have never in life. And I'm sorry I'm laughing, but you can't even, if I don't reach an agreement with the other side in mediation, I can't bring that mediator into court to testify. No, you can't do that. It's against the rules now.
So let me ask you this: in light of how I got completely fucked over, and how several other people, I think, let me, before I say that, I don't want to assume that you're going to think the same way I think. So allow me to ask you first: do you think men as a whole get a fair shake in family court, especially in the child support system?
See, here's the problem with that. With child support, yes. With the parenting plan, no. People group them together.
Okay.
You got to separate. Number
Okay.
one, you got to learn to separate. Child support, once again, is based off of income shares, both incomes. There's literally, you put mom's income in, you put dad's income in, right?
Mhm.
From there, and we're just talking about child support. If that party just went for child support, they're not about to set a parenting plan, which sucks, because you're either going to be at 365 and 0 when they factor in those incomes, which, to be quite honest, most courts don't even do that anymore. Most. Or they're going to put it at 80 days every other weekend, 2 weeks in the summer. Divide the holidays. There's your 80 days. So when you ask me as far as child support is numbers, when you factor in
itself, when you factor,
because
right
if
before we
you
came
go in
in,
there
you were
with
talking about
no representation,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you go in there with no representation, you got state's attorneys sitting there, you're absolutely right. They don't care if it's a female or a male on that side. Whoever is not the primary custodial parent, no, they're not getting a fair shake, because they're going to go in there, hey, how much money do you make? Okay, this is your monthly income. We're going to put you at 80 days, because they're not there to decide a parenting plan. It's just child support. And then there it is. And it's out the door.
So
and then you have,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The alternate residential parent, which majority of the time is men. So yeah, I can see how men are like, it's not fair for us. I get it. Because then you had that whole issue that irritates me, that I don't agree with the whole infant stage of the child that needs to be with the mom more. I don't agree with that. Granted, I don't have children, but I do see that in Davidson County juvenile, they have started leaning towards 50-50, because a father can be just as good of a parent when the child is an infant as a mother. So historically, no, men have not gotten a fair shake. I think some counties are trying to change that. However, no one's going to, if you are not the primary residential parent, so let's just say men, because primarily they're not, and you go in there without an attorney, you're not going to get a fair shake. Why? Because you didn't even file a petition to modify your parenting time. You're there for child support, so they're not even going to touch the parenting time.
So
you have to put that.
It sounds like you're saying when you go into the child support situation, the first thing that both parties, especially the guys, because I did not know anything about a parenting plan when I went into that situation, the first thing the guy should worry about is this parenting plan.
So yeah, because a lot of times mom goes in and files for child support, right? Y'all got this court date coming up. When you get notice that you got a child support hearing coming up, go down there and file for a petition for a parenting plan, because they're going to hear them at the same time. And guess what? They can't set child support until the parenting time is established, because once again, you got your income and you got the number of days. Anything over 80 days lowers your child support. So she may file for a child support, but if you filed a petition for a parenting plan, that's all got to get decided before child support can be set. Now, here's the thing. All of that, okay, I filed my petition. I represent dad, got this parenting plan. Great. We're trying to work out visitation. 6 months down the road, okay, we finally went to mediation. I highly suggest some child support being paid during that time. Why not? Or why? Because you got back pay. You got arrearages that you have to pay. I have, been instances where a year later finally got a parenting plan and child support in place. That's a year of arrearages you got to pay though.
Mm.
Can you show where you paid anything? If you can, that would really help right now to knock down those arrearages. And those don't go away unless the other side and you reach an agreement. And typically the sum has to be over 10,000.
So when you file the petition to have this parenting plan,
mm-hmm.
you are just basically saying at that point, I would like to create a parenting plan, because obviously, unless you've gone to if you file this petition, you haven't talked to the other parent and agreed on this parenting plan yet. This is just something that goes into place so that when they get ready to start the child support hearing, they'll say, wait, before we do that, you guys need to figure out this parenting plan, and then we'll do that. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Because unfortunately, like you said, you asked, is it fair to men? No, because usually y'all are the alternate residential parent. So you don't even have any rights. You have no rights to see your kid unless mom is a reasonable and logical person.
So basically, you
are trying to secure. You literally are like, look, I want my parental rights to see my kid.
But at that moment, you basically, like you said, you don't have any. You have to basically go to court to try to obtain your right to see your child.
Yep. It's crazy, ain't it?
So with that being said, how is it that this system is really looking out for the best interest of the child? Because it doesn't seem like it is.
That is a great question. I was in court a couple of weeks ago, livid, because I have someone that is an awesome parent, wants to see the kid, no criminal record, no nothing. And I'm arguing, in Tennessee, you're supposed to maximize the parenting time. It's in the best interest of the child for the child to have equal parenting time with both kids. You've got someone who has another child, takes care of them, new parent, but yet she's getting more time. Why? That's not fair. No, it's not fair. Nope. And it's not in the best interest of the child. Nope. Mm-mm. And the response I got was, I'm sorry, Attorney Mance, but this is how I feel.
So in that instance, the man is trying to figure out a way to see his child more. He's basically being railroaded by the system.
Yep.
What are the steps that the man needs to take in order to secure more time with his child? If he's already done the things that you've mentioned and he still is in this situation, what's the next step in the process?
After you go to trial and say you don't get that 50%, file an appeal, and it'll go up to the appellate court. And
really?
Yep. You can appeal. You can file an appeal. I had someone contact me the other day about filing an appeal about their parenting time.
Okay.
Like I said, child support, the numbers are what they are. Whatever your income is, and that's literally, it's a computer. I show my clients that because they literally think for some reason that someone's over there making up the calculations. No, it's a computer system. You put all the numbers in, like I said, but you got to know what credits that you should be getting. And if you don't know how to read that sheet, you just looking at something, you like, I guess, I don't, and most people agree to it because they're just trying to get up out of there. But yeah, you would have to file an appeal. A lot of times, Is it fair? No. But I will tell clients, okay, well, we're at 150 days. I know you wanted 182.5. That's 50%. We got them to, and then you start out to think strategy and mediation. All right, well, if we just got them to week on, week off for the summer, turn back around, refile, because clearly you've shown you can do week on, week off. We've got proof of that in evidence. Now let's refile. And now the judge has to come up with the reason why he's not going to give it to us. You got to be patient, and it's frustrating, but you have to strategize and think, long-term game.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's not fair, and I have yet, there's a judge down in of all places, Shelbyville, Bedford County, that he tells how he got divorced, and he said he realized at that moment, this is ridiculous that men don't have equal parenting time with their children. And so now you go down there, unless you are just a terrible person, you're gonna get it. And that's how it should be. I mean, you've had a child together. Even if you were married, the child saw y'all together. So at least if you're gonna separate, y'all should have equal time.
Right.
But yeah, you would have to appeal. But sometimes I say a strategy, because like I said, discretion of the judge and this whole infant or tender age, of the child, it's still mind-boggling to me. I don't have an answer for it.
What are there any because
the best
average guy doesn't know all of this information. Are there resources that are set up so that people who don't know the entire process can get some type of knowledge aside from getting an attorney,
having to come and spend money for
right? Are there any resources set up for people to get some of that information?
So a couple of things. Yes. What are they? I don't know.
Okay.
I have some, and that's something that I can give you the information and shoot it to you. There are some nonprofit organizations specifically geared towards helping men get more time with their children. Mm-hmm. Men specifically, because typically you're not getting it. Men are the ones not getting it. Especially there in Nashville, mm-hmm. that educate. Literally, it's free. You go in. And that's one thing. So going back to, do I need an attorney? What I would suggest, can't afford an attorney, go to a couple of these meetings. Like I said, I'll shoot you the information. Learn the basics. If you go in there with basic knowledge, that state attorney's gonna be like, oh shoot, he knows something. I better actually act accordingly.
Because a lot of the comments that I've gotten were from a lot of people saying things like, you don't need an attorney if you know something, if you do some type of research. Now, to me, I just thought that it was completely ridiculous. I'm like, dude, you are crazy. That's not going to happen. So are you saying that there is a chance that you can go in there without an attorney if you have some knowledge and still receive a better outcome than you would
with no knowledge?
Flat out going in there and not having any knowledge? Is there going to be a significant difference in the outcome?
It could be. I can't give a yes or no on that. Not to give you that lawyer answer. It could be, could be. Possibly. Nothing's guaranteed, but I will tell you, I've sat in court, and he came in, presented himself. Appearance matters, believe it or not. Can you say that?
Can you say it again one more time? Can you say it again, please? One more time.
Appearance matters. It matters how you come in and look in that courtroom. No, you're not supposed to be judged, but this is reality. We live in the real world. You're being judged, especially if you are a black male coming in there. Appearance matters. So if you come in there with even the slightest bit of knowledge, I sat in court one day. This guy, gentleman, uh, black guy came in there, and he knew a little something. He just had on, he didn't have on a suit. He had on jeans with the belt and a polo shirt button down. That's it. He came in there. He told the judge he hit the high points. The judge looked. Then he looked back over at the mom and started questioning her.
Mm.
Man. And then he just sat there quietly. She walked out of there upset because the child support didn't change. And he was able to he knew the key phrase to say, it's key phrase to say. So, yes, these groups that offer those seminars, I highly suggest going to them. And he didn't have an attorney.
So, as an attorney, what are some of the things that you would advise if someone says says, all right, I cannot afford an attorney. I'm not gonna get one. I'm gonna go in here and Perry Mason this thing without an attorney. I'm gonna go get my Perry Mason on real quick. What are some of the things that you think, just basic knowledge of the court system, that someone would need to maybe touch so that they would have some type of factor of intimidation a little bit when they went in? Oh, okay, this person knows, something.
Ask the question. 2, when you get in there, they call y'all up. Okay. Of course, they're gonna ask for your income. That's standard. Bring proof. Aaron, I don't want people to know how much I make. I don't want her to know how much I really make. We already on the wrong foot. Okay. If you don't have proof and she's on the other side saying, he works as in third, you're going to be imputed at minimum wage, which is, I think, don't quote me on this, right around $1,600 a month. Okay.
Okay.
It's 15 something. Maybe it's $1,595. But anyways, so if you're not going to bring proof and you're just going to say, I don't, one, judges don't like that because you already trying to beat around the bush. But first question you ask the other side, Judge, I have a question. I know this is, based off of both our incomes and days. Am I going to get the standard 80 days? That's going to raise an eyebrow. Like, what? You know what the standard is? So that they can't automatically put you at 0. Judge is gonna, like I said, most judges will put you at 80 days so that you're not at 0. But they're also gonna tell you, sir, if you want visitation rights, then you need to follow the proper procedure to do that. And that's where the parenting plan, the petition for the parenting plan comes in. Okay. So right then and there, all right, you're at your standard 80 days and they got your income. Next thing, do you have other kids? If you do, if you don't, that's pretty much it. The other thing you can get credit for is bring in proof. If you're helping to pay daycare, bring that in. If they're on your insurance, bring that in. If they're not on your insurance, more than likely they're going to order that they be on the father's insurance. Mm-hmm. That only helps out the father. Bring that in. What I was going to say was, if you have other children, another question to ask the state's attorney that's sitting over there doing the calculation. Hey, am I going to get credit for my other children? Don't tell her because she'll get upset. He or she'll get upset.
Okay.
Oh, well, did you bring proof of that? Yeah, here's my proof. She's got to factor that in so that you get credit for that.
Okay.
So those are basic things. Everything needs to be asked as a question, but ask it in a way like, I know I should get this, but don't come off like, you arrogant, and because then it's going to lead into a back and forth, and the judge is going to probably side with the state attorney because you're representing yourself.
Mm.
But it's very important. Yes, judge, no judge. You'd be surprised how much that plays. Literally just saying yes, judge, no judge. Yes, sir, no, ma'am. I see so many people going there and I cringe because I'm sitting there and the judge is asking them something. They're like, yeah, no. I'm like, dude, you losing points. I know you don't want to be here, but you know, fake it till you make it.
Let me ask you this.
The world. Yeah.
This is a comment that was repeated over and over and over in the section of that video. People keep saying things like, hold on, where is it? Child support is voluntary. It's not law, and you don't have to. If you sign it, then you are agreeing to child support, and it's not. It's a voluntary thing, and if you don't sign any of the paperwork, you are not agreeing to it unless you sign the paperwork, and then you are voluntarily agreeing to it. But if you refuse to sign any of that paperwork, then you are not agreeing to the child support system, and that you somehow are absolved of the responsibility by not participating in the system. Is that true? Is there any truth to that, or is that a bunch of bullshit?
Bunch of bullshit. You know how you can get out of child support? Sign over your parental rights. Then that's absolutely correct. You sign over your parental rights, you do not have to pay child support. That's if you want to be that type of parent, because here's the thing. Child support is not an option. Now you have parents that decide not to put each other on it because they're able to work out something. That's a whole nother issue. But once that one parent brings you into court and establishes you're the father or the mother, they're going to ask you to take a DNA test. And once it's established that you are, child support now has you. And there is no option in not paying child support unless you're going to terminate your parental rights.
So you're saying that somebody can completely just terminate their parental rights and then they don't have to pay child support at all. But who would, I mean, goodness gracious, who would?
Yep. Well, you'd be surprised. I have seen mothers and fathers terminate their parental rights to get out of child support.
You are kidding me.
No. So that whole idea that, no, you have parents out there that don't want to be parents and it's about the money. Yeah. And it's sad.
Wow. That is ridiculous. So go ahead.
I was going to say, but yeah, so once the courts establish that you're the mother or the father by the DNA test, because the courts they're concerned about the kid. And one thing I do like about the circuit court judges is they are very quick to tell the parents, I don't care about you or you. It's about this child. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care why you mad at him, why you mad at him. They don't care about all of that. It's about the best interest of the child. What does this kid need to be taken care of? Right. And in some situations, you have families or parents where they may be making, $75,000 a year. In other situations, they're not. That's why it's got to be based off of incomes, because not every family is at the same economic level.
So there are instances where a lot of, and I can only speak for men. I don't know the statistics on women because I'm not a woman, obviously. But there are a lot of situations where it seems that men, and it's kind of happened to me as well, which is why, the videos I made about me being homeless were directly related to my child support case. There are a lot of situations where men are being put in a situation where they are destitute, because of child support. And that if the system is in fact about the best interest of the child, it doesn't seem that making the father destitute or imprisoning him is actually in the best interest of the child. So why do you suppose, or do you know, or do you think that the system has this way of putting men in a position where they can either pay so much money where they don't have any particular quality of life, or they don't pay that money and they don't have a quality of life because they're in damn it prison?
Right. So, yeah. This is where it comes in. Having an attorney is helpful, even if the attorney does it on a pro bono basis, because you can't pay for them because you are homeless. I'm working 3 jobs. That's why in a lot of situations with divorces, my father will say it's cheaper to keep her. Why? Because then you got to keep them at this standard, the kids at this standard. They don't care that you have to go out and get 2 more jobs. They don't care about that. Comes to the kid, same thing. Look, this child has to be taken care of. So, say you got a job, you're working 2 jobs, you just can't make ends meet, you're behind on your bills. There's something called a material change in circumstances. If you can prove that this amount of money that you are having to pay is affecting you beyond, and it has to be more than, you can only work so much.
Right.
You know, had a situation where it was affecting his health, his livelihood. We could show that. Okay, we need to come back and revisit child support because something's got to give here. However, I'm not saying they're going to do it forever. They're going to say you need to get it together. And it sucks. I know, because if you only, and then here's the thing, if it's only because the argument is going to be, Your Honor, he's able-bodied to work. He's voluntarily underemployed. That is a typical argument that's used.
Okay.
Judge is going to ask you, what's your education level? How old are you? He's going to ask you all these things. Do you have any work experience? Well, why did you go out and get this type of job? He may say that's not an excuse. You may be like, look, I've been applying. I was sitting in court one day. Guy still didn't have a job, but he could show where he was applying and really trying. So judge didn't put him in jail. I see more men go to jail, not because they didn't have a job, not because, and it could have been not because the judge even knew that they couldn't pay the full amount. They just weren't paying anything. So the judge is like, you telling me you got a job and you paid 0? Like, made no effort? I've literally sat in there, one of the hardest judges down there. If you are trying and paying something, he won't put you in jail. But if you're just not doing anything and you don't have any proof that you're not trying, yeah, they're going to put you in jail every time. I have never seen a situation where someone's working 2 jobs, paying something, and going to jail. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Doesn't happen. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't, as far as you're broke and you're paying this amount of child support because you make this much a month, yeah, it's about how those numbers fall. Once again, that's numbers, and it sucks. I wish I could tell you.
I mean,
because here's the thing, because they like, yo, okay, what about the kid? That's what they're going to come right back to. They don't care about you. They don't. And it sucks. Because you like, I'm out here. I don't even have a place to stay. But I'm doing all this so I can pay child support. Something's got to give. Those are types of things. And I don't know your situation or what happened. If there was evidence brought in that you were home, I don't know. But it's like, wow, that was rough.
Yeah, I was
rough.
I was just determined, I mean, we've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
My mindset is just a little bit different. I was like, I think deep down, I just didn't want to give them the satisfaction of knowing that they would break my spirit. You know what I mean? So I was just like, you know what? I'll just ride it out. It's only a couple more years, and it'll be straight. I'm not worried about it. But here's
You're a good one.
So what?
I said you're a good one.
I mean, the whole time, literally, and like I said in the video, I didn't make that video for men who did not want to be a part of their child's lives and who were just trying to not pay child support. That was not the intent of my video, and I said it in the video. My concern was for people who were really trying to see their kid, who were really making an effort to pay, but were not being treated fairly by the system, and were not actually being listened to by the system, and were not being offered any other solutions or any other ways of coping with the situation, because the system wasn't giving them that, or they didn't have the financial means to hire someone to give them that information. But the issue, though, is I just wonder what is the purpose? What does the system think is going to do to better the child by putting someone in prison? I don't understand that thinking, and I would just I wonder if it would just not be better to even have some type of system that it would force somebody to work somewhere, as opposed to just putting them in prison.
Well, I guess, and that's the thing. That's what I'm telling you. I haven't seen a
For
father
non-payment,
that's trying.
I mean, for non-payment, it seemed like it would just be better to have some type of work bus that shipped you to the Burger King or something.
Here's the thing.
Just something.
I mean, but look, if you lazy, you lazy. I'm just sorry. Whether it's a man or a woman. Okay, so like I'm telling you, I have not seen a judge, me personally, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, someone that is busting their butt, working 2-3 jobs, paying something, and they send them to jail. I haven't seen that. What I've seen is someone who's working and just ain't paying anything go to jail. What I've seen is someone who's refusing to get a job because they have decided, I mean, child support is for, here's all the time, people that don't pay. Our fathers that don't want to see their kids are bad fathers. Okay, great. You visit with your child. You got days. Do you give them any? That takes more than that. They can't eat air. They have to get clothes.
Right. Let me ask you this.
So that's all on mom.
Well, let me ask you this, Attorney Corletra Mance. Question. Why do you think, and I'm going there a little bit. I'm going there a little bit with this one. I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm going there a little bit with this question. Okay.
Do it.
So we about to go in with this question. I'm going there. All right. You ready for this? I'm going there. All right.
And let me just, so everyone knows, most of my clients are men. I am disliked by, but I'm very honest with my clients with both sides. So I will play devil's advocate quick so they will see. Okay.
Which is why I wanted to talk to you, because like I said, my friend he just raves about you. And so I really want to talk to you about this. But why do you suppose, I'm going to lose a lot of friends with this question, but I got to ask you. Why do you suppose that women have the ability to have multiple children that they can't pay for and they do not go to jail, but a man can have one child that he does not pay for and he goes to jail? Why do you think the system is set up that way?
That's a great question. You know, to me, that almost relates back to not even trying to be conspiracy theorists, because, you know, if you quote don't have the, and this is what's crazy. if you, and I don't know what the number is, this is Arkansas law, because I don't know the number in Tennessee. It's probably about the same. And I'm going to answer your question, but think about this. If you don't have the capacity, you have the capacity, say, of a 14-year-old, grown woman, capacity of a 14-year-old. You know you can still have 3 children, 3 kids before they will make you get your tubes tied. That's with no capacity. So let's discuss someone who's got capacity. They're not putting a limit on that. One would think they would, because these children, like I said, those 3 children, guess what? She's got the mind of a 14-year-old. She's already on benefits. The kids are going to be on benefits. So why would you do that? Right?
Right.
Why in the world would you allow this lady to have 7 kids and she can't take care of 2 or 1? I don't know. That's been mind-boggling to me. You know, you would think at some point they would cut you off or something. And then it's like, okay, at first I was like, well, maybe it's a money issue.
Right.
It's money. But then it's like, nah, because it's state benefits taking care of the kids, right? So then it comes down to, well, does it have to do with the fact that from a racial standpoint, then you start thinking about that. You start looking, of course, statistics show that most people on welfare are white, but the percentages, people have to remember there's a percentage factor.
Right. The black people are only 12% of the population.
Exactly. So just like it's like they're trying to put our black men in prison for everything else, why not throw this right in there?
Do you think
because
that
it is cheaper for them to be in prison than to actually have to help them make it in society. So that's a great question, and I've always wondered that, and I throw out different hypotheticals and things because I don't know why there's no cutoff. I've literally been in there and seen women with, no lie, 8 children on the system. You arguing about child support. And here's the thing. This is something else that's mind-boggling to me. Once you get up to those high numbers, it's not funny. But, okay, so say both parents are imputed at minimum wage, right? Let's say the father has 4 kids. We ain't going to say 8. 4, okay. Right? Low man on the totem pole is going to be the youngest child, right? Let's say father is on child support for all 4 kids. His money can only go so far, and they can only take so much of a percentage of your income. Mm-hmm. So that's something that you have to keep track of, right? So kid 4 comes in. Well, now we got to renegotiate. We got to try to figure out, because we can only take so much of his income to pay for these 4 kids. They only getting $20 every 2 weeks. So then you got a mom who's mad, like, why they even go through this? Well, I mean, the other 3 have priority, and then they can only take so much of his income. So it's like, why do you even keep taking him back when you know you're not going to get it? Is it just to make his life miserable?
It seems like it. It seems like it. But it just seems like there should be something in place to keep situations like that from continuing to happen, because situations like that are what make guys think that the system is unfair and not want to be part of the system. Because I mean, you can look at it and see that some guy will, he might have, and I'm not absolving, please don't think I'm absolving men of responsibility, because that is totally not what I'm doing. It's responsibility on both parties' parts when something like that happens. But at the same time, I know personally of guys who may have 1 kid and the woman has several. And if that dude don't pay that money, his black ass is going to jail. It's just gonna happen if he don't pay. And the women, sometimes they're able to it seems like the system is rigged to hold men more accountable than it is to hold women who are doing the exact same thing in reality. and absolving them of responsibility, and not only absolving the responsibility, but giving them aid as well, which doesn't retard them from continuing the
Yeah.
same behavior.
Right. No, I agree. I can tell you countless situations where I've had a male client. They've got kids, other side's got kids. Mom decides I want child support for this one kid. We're in court because you got three other kids, that you're trying to put in. This is once again where having an attorney comes into play. This happened to be a divorce though. So,
Mhm.
trying to get alimony. No, and I shut that down. Number one, you know, you're basing your expenses off of all these other children that aren't his. We're not doing
Mm.
that. That's where you start bringing in your evidence. You start doing your investigations. Who's actually helping support this person? If they're getting third party support, they shouldn't be getting alimony. Those are the types of things that when you're preparing for trial come into play that the layperson isn't going to be able to know and do. Okay.
Mhm.
So in a situation like that, and it's work, and that's what sucks is because it's almost like you're caught between a rock and a hard place because the only way you may, and I say may, get some justification is to hire an attorney. And of course, that's money. In cases like that, it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours, you know. And that attorney will probably win. But then, okay, yay, won. Now I gotta figure out a way to pay you. It's like I'm gonna be broke either way. Um, but yeah, it's tough, and I agree, and I don't know, and to be quite honest, I'm saying I don't know, and I don't know. There may be something in place now where okay, you just having kids expecting everybody else to take care of them financially. That's not cool. Some needs to give. There may be that. I don't really know
Okay.
because I know like with housing, like with Section 8 housing, you have to be doing certain things.
Right.
So there may be something. I'm not sure, but I see that point because it does. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let me ask you this. This is something I've heard as well in several comments. And I'm not going to keep you because I know we've already been talking an hour and you like, I have somewhere to go. She has to go do her super lawyer thing in Las Vegas. So I'm not going to try to hold you too much longer. But I do want to ask this question because I've seen it several times. This comment here in the chat says there are three forms of law: statutory law, common law, and natural law. Learn natural law and in court claim demand natural law jurisdiction. Is there any correctness in that statement?
So that's a state by state question. Here in Tennessee, common law for 99.9% doesn't exist anymore. It used to be if you were living with someone for so many years, common law was you considered them as you were married. No, that went out the window. Statutory law is what prevailed. The Tennessee code annotated. You'll see TCA in a section number, Tennessee code annotated. That's what we go by now. Statutes.
Mm.
Some areas, yeah, when I say some, I'm not talking about family. They still will refer back to common law, but no,
Okay.
no, mm-mm,
No.
no.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you this: if you go in court talking about common law, and the other side brings out TCA section 36.415, the other side's gonna win. If there is a if there is a statute in place that is addressing that common law, I'm telling man, okay, so
Okay. So,
But once again, every state is different. So some states still common law is crucial.
okay. Okay. So let me ask you, and I think I would like to, if you can find time in your schedule, have another conversation with you about some other law issues. Because like on my channel, I talk about a lot of different things, and a lot of it's with the XJW stuff. But as I've said on my channel, I don't want to just talk about that. I want to talk about a lot of different things. So I have another topic at some point. I'll talk to you after we in the broadcast, and you can see
I was
when
about to say, what is it? Yeah,
when
no,
you can flip me in your schedule.
no, I'd love to because I'm a graduated law school in 2008, been practicing since 2009, had my
Mhm.
own practice for going on 4 years, right?
Okay.
I am a general practitioner.
Okay.
So areas that, first of all, that I love, I do a lot of family law.
Hmm.
It's a very emotional area, not one of my favorites because it is so emotional. Um, I also do immigration. I do probate, civil litigation, personal injury, landlord, tenant, criminal. Um, so those are my top ones. So yes,
All right.
I'm always, and that's one thing I'm here, actually entertainment law, honing in my skills on contracts. So
Mhm.
um, yeah.
All
Yeah, so
right.
that would be awesome.
Okay, so I'm down. I want to do it like a regular, maybe once or twice a month. We can get together and have a conversation. Um, but here's this last question. I keep hearing people talk about, they keep bringing up Title IV of the Social Security Act and saying that child support is a fraud because of this Title IV thing. Do you know anything about that? Is there any justification in that statement, or is it just some more, conspiracy theory type stuff?
I would literally, only thing I know about when it comes to Social Security benefits and child support is when you're factoring it in, if a child is getting Social Security benefits from to that income shares worksheet. That's as much as I know. So that question has to be asked. Anything past that, I would have to literally go look, research Title IV, and speak with a social security attorney that does that on the regular. But I do know if a child is getting their derivative and they're getting benefits from Social Security, that has to be factored in. It does.
Okay.
Um, and when it's factored in, it actually is factored in. So, say the father's paying child support, it goes in on the parent's side who is receiving the child support. Okay, so it's going to make them look like they have more income, right? Because they're the ones already getting the child support. So that's not fair for you to put it on the dead side. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I've had a couple of cases like that. And so that's a question that always needs to be. And if someone's on Social Security, which a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they may not be working, then that needs to be factored in and addressed at the child support hearing. That, hey, my child is getting $170 because of, my Social Security benefits. That needs to be factored in.
Okay. So last question before you go and get your schmooze on with the other high-powered
Yeah.
lawyers in Vegas. Um, if there was one piece of advice that you could give somebody that was going to go into this child support situation, what would be, well, one question is what would you tell them is one of the first things they need to do to try to ensure the best outcome possible? And two, how do you know if your attorney is doing a good job or not?
Right. Because you'll hear a lot of times, especially in child support court, I could have gotten that without an attorney.
Right.
You know, okay. First, as far as advice, because especially for men, Black men in particular, um, and it's something that I had to learn over the years, that Black men, because of for a vast number of reasons, are forever being mistreated in the courtroom, right? Have a hate or will get anxiety or fear from going into child support court because of just how society is in general. So the first thing that I always tell them, number one, breathe, calm down. I know you already are on edge. I
Mm-hmm.
need you to calm down. I need everybody to, even when I'm having them in the courtroom talk, a lot of times I'll interrupt their testimony and tell them, slow down. You're good, slow down. Because they need a moment, right? You've got to have confidence in your attorney. If you don't, then you gonna have anxiety and be upset. So before you go in on that day, you and your attorney need to have a game plan. Have a game plan. As an attorney, I should be listing out to you all the options that I see could be possible. Worst case scenario, best case scenario, what may happen, what will probably happen. All of that client needs to know before they go in there so they don't feel blindsided. So when the judge is talking, I need to say, look, judge probably gonna say this when you say this. There needs to be a game plan. They need to be prepped. So for a good attorney will prep their client. They're not just gonna show up on the day of and be like, okay, we about to do this. And then you in there looking lost.
Right.
That's not fair. Because the client's already nervous and scared. So that's one thing that should be happening. A good attorney may do that and get in there, and you don't get the outcome you want. Doesn't mean that they're a bad attorney. You can't predict what that judge is going to decide to do. If they literally prepped you, went over everything, and I know you're like, well, how did they know if they went over everything? I mean, for that, you would have to ask another attorney, well, did they do this? They didn't. Damn. I would never call out another attorney like that because they may not have seen it as relevant and it may not be relevant. There are times when I know things are not relevant. I fall on the sword just because my client wants me to bring it up. And I know I'm going to get yelled at. I know I am. And it's happened several times. But for my client to feel like I was doing my job, I asked an irrelevant question and get yelled at. So I advise my client, look, if you want me to ask, fine, I'll ask, but I'm telling you it's not going to be relevant. And then once they see, they be like, oh, yeah, okay. But so you sometimes, especially if they're not used to it, you just have to let them see certain things.
Right.
But breathe, make sure you get prepped, and try to go on with a positive attitude. And I know it doesn't seem important, but appearance, I'm telling you, man. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. Those are very important. You'd be surprised how many judges, when you don't say it, they're over there like giving you minus points. Like, seriously.
Mm.
Because they feel like for them, they've worked this hard to get there. It ain't got nothing to do with you. That's pride, basically, their ego. So, but preparation. Be comfortable with your attorney. If you can't call your attorney and tell them, even when you've done something wrong, because you feel like they're going to judge you, well, maybe that's not the right attorney. They may fuss at you. I fuss at my clients, but they can call me and tell me stuff. Maybe they shouldn't have done it, but
Yeah, that's we've had some conversations about that. That's some conversations for another live stream. Go ahead and maybe if you want to give out your information for your firm, because this sister has her own firm. She's doing it big, in the spaceship. Go ahead and give them your info. I'll also put it in the description box as well. But go ahead and give them your info.
So I am a private attorney. I'm with 3 other attorneys, so it's 4 of us. We're an association of attorneys, right? So everyone's private practice. So it's Tennessee Law Group. My phone number, I'll go slow, is 615-742-5373. My secretary will answer. You can make an appointment. My consultations, the initial consultation is free. If you cancel, the next one is $50. I just have to put that out there. My email address, the one that I use that you can email me any questions, is Corletra. That's Corletra, the number 83 at gmail.com. So that's Corletra83@gmail.com. Phone number 615-742-5373. I am located in Germantown, there in Nashville, Tennessee. I do, however, travel the entire state of Tennessee. So may cost a little more, but I'll do it. So.
All right. Well, guys, I'm definitely going to have her back, and we're going to talk about a lot of other topics regarding law and stuff. All right. So she has to go. She's has an event tonight. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll arrange. Don't hang up after we start the broadcast, so we can arrange the next time. Okay. But guys, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments of this video, because this one will probably get around 20,000 views, just like the last one, because it's the same topic. So there'll be a lot of comments. So yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Keith, for having me.
All right.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, sister. Likewise. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and shut it down, and I will see you all next Tuesday at 7:30. All right. All right. Peace, guys.